can, you know,
Yeah.
be sort of elmered by the other folks around if you're a newcomer. And yeah, go for it. I bet you can make it with 25 easy.
All right, KD2 GYU at medium power. Can you guys still read me?
Um, just you got just a little bit of rise in background, noise level, but you're still very readable.
Oh, that's great. That means I don't need to push as much out of here. Another question about running battery power. You said you had 12-volt batteries that you took out in the field. How long can you run off of a 12-volt battery? My question is basically, how long can I run my radio without killing my battery if my truck's off?
Generally, in receive mode, radio generally just pulls milliamps. The only time that you're taking a slug of current out of it is when you're keyed down and you're transmitting. The rest of the time, there's little or not, and it depends on how much wattage you're putting out, and that draws. The more wattage you put out, the more current you draw out of the battery. So the life of that charge will diminish as your power increases.
All right, well, I'm going to send it back to the net, so I'm not tying up everybody's time. If there's anybody else that wants to sign on, I'll turn it back over to Obi. So I'm going to be listening, sitting here. But KD2, GYU, Ted, back to the net.
Okay, thanks, Ed. Yeah, that's what this is for. Usually nobody shows up, and well, let's see who's next. Bill left. Doug, go ahead, N1 Andy.
Yeah, okay. Good evening, all. And Ted, KD2GYU, everything Rick said is the truth for sure. Most all of your power supplies, for if you want to run that radio like as a base, 12 volt power supplies, yeah, usually will put out more than that, like 13, 13 and a half, 13.8, whatever. But what's important, as Rick said, is the amperage. I'm running an 840 FT847 Yaesu right now, which also runs on a power supply. This radio is HF, VHF, and UHF. Let me drop. And on HF, it puts out 100 watts, and it draws about 20 amps at that point. So I'm using an Astron 35 amp power supply. So if your radio puts out 50 watts, you're probably going to need something that's well, I don't know, 25 watts. I don't know. Maybe the others can go along with me here. I would say a minimum of 10 amps if your radio is putting out 25 watts. At 50 watts, maybe even a little more than that. But the length of time is, well, I don't know. Put a voltmeter on your battery and watch it. If it gets down to 9 volts or so, you better start that engine.
Yeah, so I met a guy from Chatham. I don't have his call sign in front of me. K2WG, maybe. I got this radio, and he gave me a power supply that it has a 5 amp fuse in it, or something on the front. And but he had it hooked up to this radio, so it must have been working. My electrical engineering skills are pretty poor, so I'm gonna try it out and see what happens. But it seemed to work when I had it hooked up in the house the other day. So I don't know.
N1SYN.
Hey guys, free base. I'm listening.
I think this is still Ted, correct? the 115 volt line. So you're going to draw less current with the 115 that gets converted down to the 12. So there's almost a 10, you know, 10 times difference from what you're pulling out of the supply versus what you're pulling off of the AC current from your house outlet. So that fuse is just to protect the power supply in case there's a fault. It won't short out your line. And an average like 20 to 25 amp supply generally has about a 5 amp fuse on it. If you remember the model number or whatever, you can always look up on the internet and it'll tell you what the output is, for current DC wise to your radio. You want to make sure if you're down too low. I know people who tried to run HTs off of a 12 volt wall wart, and there's just not enough current there, and you end up getting a lot of AC hum with it because the capacitor can't keep up with it in the power supply. So
Sign out. Sign out. Over. ATU. Release clear. Repeater ready.
I got bit again. How much did you miss?
I missed up to, or I heard up to, some of the people using wall warts and not being enough current. This power supply I have is pretty hefty. It probably weighs 20 pounds. It's pretty big. I picked up one at Hamfest a while ago that somebody said would work, and it was maybe a quarter the size. This is a Motorola unit, so my guess is it'll handle it pretty well. Thank you for I forgot about that's probably to protect the line, protect the power supply from line voltage. So yeah, I'm guessing it'll work.
And generally, the power cable that comes with the radio, there's fuses in line there, and that's to protect the power supply if there's a fault in the radio. And if there aren't any fuses in line in your DC line to the radio, you can put one in one line or the other or both, and you'll be fine. I don't know if the radio he gave you had the fuses in line. When you buy a new one, they always come with fuses in line on that side too, so you don't hurt the power supply or burn out, worse your gear if there's a fault there. So it'll if it's going to pull that much current, there's something wrong with the radio anyway. So it's better to blow the fuses in it than to get the radio caught on fire. And I hope that fixes that up for you. The chances of you running 25 watts sitting in your truck out there, you could probably run, just talking like we're doing now for hours.
Yeah, I've got fuses in line on both wires, yeah.
Do you have a manual for the radio, Ted?
Yeah, I do. It's virtually identical. It's a Kenwood radio. It's a dual band, so it's 2 meter, 70 centimeter, and I have a 2 meter handheld that's a Kenwood. That was I got it, maybe a couple months ago when I first got my license, and the controls are virtually the same. So it's been a real easy transition to this one. But yeah, I have the manual printed out. So I've gone through the whole thing, and I've got a sheet sitting next to me that I need to start filling out for my memory channels, and so that I can figure out what number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is.
And to answer the second part of your question that was in there earlier, and I was going to tell you, is looking under specifications for the radio and look at power, and it'll usually give you for the amount of watts you're pushing. There, it should also give you the amount of current that the radio draws at those settings. And obviously, you want to have a fuse uh, the next step up larger than how much current you're going to draw. You don't want it right at it, or it'll blow the fuse. But a couple of amps above it, and you'll be fine. That's on the DC line side.
KC1CLW, can I join in over?
KC1 station, come again, net control.
Roger, thank you, Net Control. This is KC1CLW. I've been monitoring your conversation with Ted. I was just wondering if Ted could give me his call sign one more time. I'm in the same shoes he's in. I just got my license a few months ago. If you don't mind, I can get your name and your call sign, and we can chat some other time. Over.
Yep, my name is Ted, and it's KD2GYU. That's Kilo Delta 2 Golf Yankee uniform, and I'm out of New Lebanon, New York.
Oh, this is KC1CLW. Thank you very much, Ted. Nice to meet you guys. I'm out of New Salem, Massachusetts. So I'm looking forward to talking with you guys again. And one more question to the net. I was just programming my radio, and I picked up the Mount Greylock repeater here. When do you have this meeting? Is every Monday night or every night at this time? Over.
KC1 station, please give your call sign in phonetics. KC1 again.
Roger, I'm sorry. It's Kilo Charlie 1, Charlie Lima Whiskey. Over. Kilo Charlie 1, Charlie Lima Whiskey. Over.
Okay, old ears. KC1 CLW. Let's see here. If you want to continue with Ed, Ted, whoever it is, please be my guest. I'll just listen in.
My log.
Folks doubled on it. Try again.
Kilo Delta 2 Echo Juliet Romeo.
Juliet. All right, let's see if I can straighten this. Kilo Delta 2, Echo Juliet Romeo. Welcome to the net. First name, please.
First name is Ralph. Romeo Alpha Libra Papa Hotel. I'm in Kingston, New York. Over.
Okay, KB1, KD2, EJR, scribbling here, Ralph. Welcome to the net. We'll have you right on here. Right on. Questions, comments? Go ahead, Ralph.
I'm just setting up a new radio, and I happen to run into your net here in Kingston. Just been listening in, just picking up some tips. I have my amateur extra license. Over.
Okay, well, we got this straight here. KD2, EJR, Ralph in Kingston. Any question, comments for anyone on the net? Go ahead.
UA1ZHM.
Hello, Charlie 2, India, Fox Papa.
Okay, let's see here. WA1NT, no. WA1ZHM. And what is it? India Foxtrot Papa Station. John, go ahead.
Yes, I just happened to jump in here. A question was posed by KC1 CLW when the net is run, and that's first and third Mondays of the month. First and third Mondays of the month at 7:30 or thereabouts p.m. And Rick, my station's up and running. I got excited when I heard you were going to play, so I got her back on the air. Back to the newcomers round table. VA1's at HM.
Okay, John. And if you get sick of playing packet, you can take over as net control. The last station, it was what? It was India Foxtrot Papa. Can I have your full call phonetically and name, please?
Name is Cliff Charlie Lima India Fox Fox, and the call sign is Kilo Charlie 2 India Fox Papa.
Okay, Cliff. Kilo Charlie 2 India Foxtrot Papa. Question, comments for anyone on the net?
Yes, I just wanted to let anybody know that's looking for the ARL points on 7163 WA8EFK, a director worth 225 points.
Okay, folks, there you go. Let's see here. I guess Rick's playing. Rick, for anything further, or you're playing Packer?
Are you addressing me, O?
Yes, sir.
I'm still here with the net. I'm out in Studio B.
Okay, we'll put you on the list. Bill left. N1 Andy, Doug, Andy, anything?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, picking up a few stations there. It sounded kind of meager in the beginning. KC1, what is it? CLW in New Salem. Didn't we talk before? Did you formerly live in Chicopee? And I didn't get your first name.
Roger, this is KC1 CLW. My first name is Romeo Uniform Sierra Sierra. I think I did talk to you from Chicopee. Over.
Yeah, okay, Russ. I thought you said that you had formerly lived in Chicopee. I live in Munson, Massachusetts, down near the Connecticut border. But I thought we did work maybe a couple nights ago. I didn't consult my log. I'm just writing down what's going on right at this moment. And KB2, is it J-E-R or E-J-R, Ralph? I had it down as J-E-R. Would you make me right on that? Oh, maybe Ralph went away. Okay, I don't have really too much to add. I will say to Ted, KD2GYU, I run a little 8900 Yaesu. It's actually a mobile rig. I run it here in the base with a 10 watt, a 10 amp Motorola power supply. Very, very ample. No problem with it whatsoever. So I don't think that you need a whole lot of power to run some of the smaller mobiles, even though they put out 50 watts. When you get into the heavier stuff, like a 100 watt HF rig or something, you're going to need a little more amperage there. N1AND, back to you, Obi.
Okay, Doug. Hey, do you mind taking over the net for a little bit?
Where the heck you going, you old crusty old pirate?
I'm going to talk like a pirate. That's coming. Oh, then never mind. Anyway, let me run down the usual announcement. Newcomers Roundtable, first and third Mondays of the month, 7:30. This repeater, all welcome. Emergency nets, Sunday morning, starting at 8:30. HF 3944. 2 meters, 9 a.m. 6 meters, 9:30. 440 at 9:45 and 220 at 10. Anybody wants to try running the 10 o'clock Charlie 1, Cycle 1 traffic net? We could fix you up for that if you have time. Whatever day or every once in a while. The 10 o'clock traffic net. Hampa Flea Market, MIT, third Sunday, April through October. What's coming up next weekend, 20 September, in we're Forestdale, Rhode Island. Hike and Bike the Berkshires, public service event coming up September 20th. Meeting at Jiminy Peak. I think Paul N1QA is still looking for one more radio operator on the top of Greylock. Eric, K1SUN is having another balloon launch, so I hear September 23rd, looking for volunteers to help with that balloon launch. I think he's looking for good CW operators or somebody just wants to watch and help and whatever. What's coming up? The 10 gig contest, 20 and 21 September. And so looking for amateur station KB10XJ, who had won a prize at No Bark Hamfest, but can't get a hold of this guy. Doug, go ahead. It's all yours, N1Q.
Okay, Obi. Yeah, I looked at the station up on QRZ, which I'm sure everybody else did, and it's supposed to be in Steventown, New York, but they can't seem to find him at that address or any phone numbers or whatever. So we don't know where he is. Ralph, KD2JER, I have you at. Is that correct, Ralph? Are you there? I guess Ralph left us. Anyway, we'll go back around. I don't really have a list of everybody now, but I'll go back to Rick, N1SYN. Are you still with us?
It's affirmative. We're still here. Don't have much more to add. John had chimed in also, so maybe we could pass it over to him.
Oh.
Yeah, very good. John, WA1ZHM, what do you have to tell us?
WA1ZHM. Boy, what a cluster of good new folks we have tonight. That's good to hear. And passing some information along. I'm happy about it. My internet is down for the count for now. I don't know why. I'll have to figure that out. But kind of stuck without email and stuff for now. So got to put up with that. Yep. New radios, new frequencies. Get these guys set up. There's all kinds of lists on the internet of local, for your area, local repeaters and stuff. You can look them up on the internet. Real easy. Just to do a Google and a lot of them will pop up. They'll give you the frequencies, the offsets, PL tones, and area coverage generally. So there's a good source to look for repeaters. And if anybody gets stuck, they can contact me and I'll shoot them off an email with a list or two for stuff like that. I've got piles of them here. So, and they go out of date, some repeaters.
Time out. Time out. Over. APU. Release clear. Repeater ready.
Oh, coffee for everybody. You know, that seems to be short tonight for some reason. The storm, the sunspot, the ago that we were supposed to get whacked by it. And there was a big discharge from the sun, sunspot activity, and it was witnessed by one of our hams that was putting on the helping with the balloon, the weather balloon launch at Williams College. He happened to be right there where the big telescope is, and the astronomer let him look through and happened to see that huge solar flare. The astronomer said, the doctor there said, that's the biggest one he's ever seen. So there you go. That's the news from Lake Wobegon, WA1ZH, and back to the Newcomers Roundtable.
Yeah, very good, John. Yeah, I heard. I didn't see it. I didn't go out, but they were saying there was a great Northern Lights display, which they attributed to that big solar flare. And I did see photos of it on the news channel on television, and it was pretty impressive there. Anyway, yeah, glad to hear we got some newcomers in here. We have Cliff here. He's KC2IFP, I believe, and he said he was extra class. So you must have jumped right in there with both feet, Cliff. Go ahead. I guess Cliff ran away. Yeah, okay. We'll turn it back to KD2GYU. Ted, you still with your engine shut off? That wouldn't bother you. You could transmit there for a long time before you have to worry about starting your engine. Go ahead, Ted.
Yeah, question I have is, what should I start with for an antenna if I want to bring my radio into my house and run something so I don't have to sit in my truck out here? Engine's off, so the truck is cold. I'm all right with building antennas. I'm really looking forward to. I got the antenna book from ARRL, and anybody have a suggestion for a first antenna I could try to build that would work as a base station, or a way that I could use my mag mount antenna that's on my truck as a base station? I'm still figuring out, if it needs a ground plane. I assume that the metal in the truck is acting as I don't know the right term as the other half of the antenna. But what can I do from my house?
Paul. Well, Ted, I'm using a magnetic mount antenna right now. I made a steel plate thing that sticks out the window. I'm on the second floor, and the steel in your vehicle is the counterpoise, and but if you put it on something, I've heard hands with a magnetic mount antenna on a cookie sheet or something in the house that worked. If you're where you can get a pretty good shot at the repeater, but a lot of the hams now are using a J-pole and having great luck with a J-pole. Quite simple to use if you want to make one out of copper tubing and some elbows and T's and one thing and another. And I think Rick was in there, and I'm sure he has some suggestions also. So I'm going to turn it over to Rick. N1SYN. This is N1AND.
Yeah, if you're gonna you're gonna put it up in an antenna. You said you have a dual band radio, and we also have a 440 repeater. But the first antenna I ever built, because I only had 2 meters, was just a simple. Ground plane antenna. You can get an SO 239, panel mount, and solder a piece of stripped or non-stripped 12 gauge or 14 gauge wire, and your antenna book should have a basic ground plane in there, and you you can make one and then just put it up on a mast outside your house, to the side of the house or something like that. Put it up a ways, and it costs you next to nothing to build. So just look up the simple ground plane, and you can make various sizes of them for whatever frequency you're going to use. I don't know what your pocketbook is like. You could build one, but it would be kind of tough. An all good wideband VHF UHF antenna is a disc cone, and you can pick them up at Radio Shack. Although some of the newer ones they're using tubing instead of regular.
Time out. Time out. Over. APU. Release clear. Repeater ready.
Timer's short. For all the newcomers, also to this to this repeater, because we're up so high and we cover so much area. There's a 90-second timer, which seems to be running short tonight for some reason. But a disc cone, the basic disc cones, you can run from 2 meters up through 1200 megahertz, and they're very wide banded and they're good for VHF and stuff like that. They're about $60, and if the one you get from Radio Shack, it has a whip that you can put on the top of it, and that'll add 6 meters to it. But if you leave it off, it's good for all the VHF UHF stuff. And John was in there, and he can tell you more. John is our resident area antenna man. He experiments like crazy. So let me shoot it over to him. N1SYN.
WA1ZHM. Resident antenna specialist. I like that. I like that term. Yeah, I would. There's many different kinds of antennas you can experiment with on a low budget. Take a piece of flat lead and strip it down through the center, cut it right down the middle, and run the length of 18 and a half inches or whatever, 19 inches, 19 and a quarter inches for 2 meters. Strip that off, run the same, maybe a little longer for the counterpoise, the other side of it, and drape that back down the lead, and tape it, and put a little loop in it, hang it out on a tree or something, or tape it, or hang it from a pole or somewhere in your house or something like that. Real simple, and then connect it to a piece of 58U or something like that, plug it into your radio. Another item you may want to get is an SWR meter, so that when you do make an antenna or buy an antenna, let me catch it, you can check the SWR, which is an important reading. It signifies a reflected power, and you don't want reflected power back because that'll damage your radio. So you try and you snip the antenna little bit by little bit until you get the best SWR reading, and then you leave it there. Generally, a 1.2 to 1 match is fine, but it's all in your manual. Check your manual, and they should tell you all about it. If you can't afford to buy one, there's plenty of hams around that have them, and will probably let you borrow their meters to get set up. Once you get it set up, you don't have to really worry about it. WA1ZHM, back to Newcomers Roundtable.
N1SYN cautionary point.
Go ahead, Rick.
When you're working with building your own antennas or whatever, or if you're gonna, you don't want to be within proximity of them. So if you're gonna be pushing a lot of power, you really don't want them in the same room with you, or where it might affect other people. Like Doug, he said he sticks it out his window on an arm or a plate attached to an arm. But airways, but it can do you bodily harm. So always be careful not to be in close proximity to your antennas.
Oh, you put my
And
head into
that's my cautionary note. Back to net.
Yeah, very good, Rick. And also, if you're putting something outside, put it above where people can reach. You know, you might be transmitting and somebody reaches up and what's this, and they can get RF burns from an antenna if you happen to be transmitting. So try to keep it up in the air where people can't be touching it, as well as not having it, like Rick says, in the area where you are. I don't even like a couple of antennas I was looking at that are fed with ladder line, and that would be alright if I had my tuner right next to the window or somewhere. I don't want that ladder line running around the shack because it radiates as well. Anyway, coax is better in the shack because it's shielded and you're not going to get, as Rick says, it's not going to change the molecules in your body. Although we have that all the time. Let me drop. We have that all the time anyway. Somebody did a study about it. By having electricity in the house, if you put a meter next to an electrical outlet, there is radiation coming out of that outlet. But of course, it's very low 60 cycle stuff. Anyway, Ted, I hope we've helped you out. And I don't want to leave Russ out either. KC1 CLW, do you have anything to offer, anything to add, or questions to ask? Russ, go ahead. K2ZVL, sounds like a van. Go ahead.
Good evening, gentlemen. Glad you're still on here. I just out the garage, got the came in here, turned the radio on, and I said, hey, it's happening. Don't know what's going on, but good afternoon to everybody.
K1FFK.
Oh, very good, Van. I don't know, you might want to move a little bit or whatever. I don't know if you're on an HC or what, but you're very, very scratchy, and usually not. You're usually pretty strong there. Anyway, I'll turn it back to you, see if you can improve that signal. This is N1AND in Munson.
Yeah, but just make it, I'm on the home radio here, so what I've always talked about, but the conditions could be a little bit wacky, who knows. Just listening along here, and I just want to say good afternoon to everybody. Good evening, I guess it is.
Okay, then. Well, thank you for stopping in. And I'm just going to toss it up in the air now. This is the Newcomers Roundtable on the K1FFK 146.91 repeater. If there's anyone that has any more questions or comments, please come now. This is N1AND.
Slan with a message relay to K2ZVL.
Go ahead, Rick.
Van, good to hear you. Look, I was speaking with, K2LM the other day. Said that you had been helping them out with the 6 meter, but they still have some problems up there with some noise, and they're going to be working on it. And hopefully by the end of the month, they're hoping to get it up. And he wanted me to pass that along with his thanks for you helping him out.
Oh, very good, Rick. Yeah, I've been trying to get in Sunday mornings, and I can key it up, but no audio is getting through. So that guy that you keep hearing in the morning on Sunday, just key it up, but you can hear me. That's me.
Copy that. And as I said before, it's good to hear you. It's been a while. So I told him the next time I ran into you that I would relay that. He did appreciate you working with him that day and telling him, how you were receiving, and he could tell how you were coming in. I guess they did get part of the problem corrected because it was actually down for a while. But now there's some noise problems. I guess they know what it is. They just got to get the things together and get up there to fix it.
Okay, very good, Rick. Yeah, last time I talked to him, he said he thought he pretty well much had it figured out, but didn't know how they were going to correct it. But now that's good they got it in a lot. Okay, thanks, Rick.
Problem. Catch you later. Thanks for the relay during the net. N1SON.
Yeah, no problem, Rick. We did have a lot of trouble on this repeater over the weekend, but they were contesting, VHF contesting up on the hill. In fact, I talked to, I can't remember, SZ, what was it, N2SC, I don't know, but anyway, on 5.5 Direct, and had a little chat for a short time, but they didn't want to talk too much, they were contesting. But it made a lot of scratchies on the repeater when you were talking to somebody else, but that was the reason. I guess that's over with now, or at least I think it is. Okay, John, WA1ZHM, do you have anything else to offer us?
Not too much. The fellow that's searching for antennas. Diamond has a large selection of dual band antennas that you might want to look into. They're not too expensive and they work real well. So Google up Diamond, as in the stone. And with that, Rick, let me know when you're up and running. I've got my repeater on the air. My system is on the air, and it's identifying every 30 minutes. So that might give you an idea what's happening from here. With that, I'm going to say 7-3s to all. Thanks for joining us on the Newcomers Roundtable. And good evening, Van. Long time no hear. WA1ZHM, back to the roundtable.
Okay, John.
7-3s. Thanks for stopping by. And is there any more comments, questions, anything else we need to go through before we close?
N2JNT.
N2JNT, and I think that's Jack. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, no, I was sitting here listening, and I was the gentleman that's talking about a dual band. When I was first licensed, I sort of had the same problem, but built a ground plane, and I used the aluminum for the vertical, and wrapped it around a 3/8-inch dowel to form a loop, and was able to tune a decent dual band antenna, homebrewed dual band antenna, by taking SWR readings and doing like a low power transmission. And I did get the thing to tune on 2 meters and 70 centimeters, put it in the attic on a broomstick, and I had that thing for years, and it really worked great.
Oh, very good, Jack. Antennas, the key word is experimentation. You get an idea and try it. And I've got several antenna books from ARRL, wire antennas, and various different kinds of antennas and everything else. A lot of good ideas in there. If anybody, Ted, if you're interested in building something. But you can do something very simple too, like John said, a piece of ladder line. You can make a dipole type thing, or as Rick said, a homemade ground plane with a chassis mount SO239. Many things you can do, and the one that I mentioned is a J-pole that they make out of copper tubing now, and the plans are readily available. Let me drop. Where you have one long radiator and then a stub, and you have two stubs on a dual bander, one for 2 meters and one for 440, and those work quite well. We have found that they are kind of directional. If you turn them around, you'll find out they work a little bit better in one direction or the other. But And somebody mentioned about repeaters. If you have a computer available, New England Repeater Directory.com will give you all the repeaters around New England and their PL tones and so forth and so on. Okay, one last call before I close. Opie, are you still there, by the way?
Yeah, I was just going to mention a couple of things there, like you. New England Repeaters Directory is the best one I found. If you want to get internet, Northern Berkshire Amateur Radio Club.org, NOBARC.org. There's a nice propagation map, VHF, UHF, Mountain Lake, .K12, or if you just type prop map, propagation map, it'll bring over there. It looks like there's some propagation along the East Coast right now. Looks like rain tonight, and if no one's familiar with K1 TTT, the super HF station of the East Coast or the world, I'm not sure. He's got cameras up. It's pretty interesting watching in his shack. K1 TTT.net. That's all I have here. Thanks, Doug.
Okay, Opie. If no one has anything else, then I guess I'll close the net. I'll throw it up in the air. Does anyone have questions, comments, anything else they'd like to discuss? Go now.
One SYN.
Go, Rick.
First off, I hope John is still listening. I went to go down and work on the APRS repeater yesterday, and when I moved some paperwork and other things from that project, I realized that I still had W1ERF's tri-bander here that I hadn't. I had the parts in for, but hadn't had time to fix it. So I took that as a priority, and I got that done yesterday, and I'll deliver it to him tomorrow. I've got a little time here. I might go downstairs and putt at the moment. I will be leaving the net at the end of my transmission unless there's any more questions for me from the rest of the newcomers before I clear. And by the way, I'd like to echo yours and John's remarks. It really is nice to have some people on the net tonight. That's why we run this net to help out the newcomers, because we were all newcomers at once, and we got all our help from the people who've been doing it before us. So with that, I'll just say if anyone have any more questions before I clear.
This is Ted. I just wanted to thank everybody. KD2GYU, I really appreciate all the help. This has been a great community so far, and I'm going to head off. I'm going to be clear. So thank you, and good night.
Good night, Ted. And with that, Doug, I got to clear out of here and maybe get a little work done on that repeater, half an hour or so before I hit the rack. Work time comes early. Thanks for taking over the net, Obi, and Obi, thanks for starting it off for us tonight. And see you folks in a couple of weeks when there's another one. This is N1SYN. I'll be clear.
With one aspect of the hobby can answer, and there's just so many facets to the hobby. It's great fun. Okay, nice hearing from you, Ted. And I guess all the other news stations left us. So I guess with that, we'll say 7-3, and I'll just pause one more time and see if anyone has any other comments.
Hey, Rick won the double.
I was just going to let you know, Doug, that evidently we keyed down at the same time. So go ahead with what you were saying before we both keyed down. So I'm going to be clear now. Thanks, everybody, for being here tonight. N1SYN, we're clear.
Okay, Rick. I don't remember what I said now. the first and third Monday of every month at 7:30 on this repeater. We have the newcomers roundtable, and we're here to answer questions. And I think I said always also that it's not always newcomers. I've been licensed for a long time, and still there are certain facets of the hobby that I haven't been involved with, and I have questions too. And somebody else that's been involved with it can always give us the answer. Okay, let me drop. And with that, this closes the newcomers roundtable for September. What is it? September 15th, 2014. Thanks all that joined in tonight, and thanks to those that stood by while we went through this roundtable. 7-3 to all. This is November 1, Alpha November Delta. The name is Doug.